This man had been stranded at sea in a plane crash. Just when he was in despair, he finally saw land. He rushed to the beach with his kayak. Then he walked carefully, barefoot, into the woods to see if there was any sign of humans.
Hello? Anybody?
But no one answered his cries. For a long time, the man scratched out help with his foot on the beach, expecting a passing flight to see it. Then the man made a shelter with his kayak. Tired, he planned to do something else tomorrow. However, at night, Tom was just laying down to sleep. Suddenly, a strange sound rang out in the woods. Facing the unknown danger, he immediately alerted. He stayed up all night with the oars in his hands. The next morning, Tom saw help was washed away by the waves. In order to survive, he rushed to find Deadwood. He chose a wide, open space where the waves couldn't wash it away, to make a bigger distress signal. Luckily, a few courier packages rolled up on the beach. Tom picked up these couriers. They might come in handy in a pinch. But just then, strange noises came from the woods again. He was alert again and shouted. Seeing no response for half a day, he plucked up his courage to see who was there. Unexpectedly, he just walked past. A ripe coconut fell from the sky. It turned out to be the sound of falling coconuts. Tom's nervous heart finally let go. In this way, he collected a lot of coconuts. It just so happened that he hadn't had any water for a day. Picked up the coconuts and smashed them on the rocks. However, the coconut was too hard. Then he slammed it against the tip of the rock, apparently to no avail. Then he hit it again with a rock. Instantly, the rock turned to slag, looking at the only sharp stone left in his hand. This time, Tom was sure of himself. He kept cutting the coconut shell with the stone knife. Finally, with his efforts, the coconut shell was peeled away. But this water was obviously not enough to wet his throat. Tom learned his lesson. He skillfully used the sharp stone to drill a hole. He couldn't wait to get the coconut into his mouth, greedily enjoying the sweetness. After drinking his fill, Tom packed his bag. He was ready to check the neighborhood for an escape. He searched all the way around the reef cliffs. However, he walked from morning to afternoon. Except for picking up another courier, there was nothing else to be found, and he found himself back at Air One. Tom was getting a little desperate. In order to further verify his conjecture, he was ready to climb to the highest part of the cliff, to see if this is really an uninhabited island. The bad news was that his feet were scratched by the coral. Tom headed towards the top of the mountain. An hour later, he climbed to the highest point. He looked down, and saw that he was surrounded by seawater. Worse still, there was no other land at all. Stranded on an uninhabited island, Tom was desperate.